One more time. We back up again, family. We got a good one tonight. Been having we do our monologues when my daughter is on with me. When we do the Clipperdome Chronicles with me and my baby. But the Clipperdome Chronicles is about relationships. So it's been 30 years. I've been in business, been in the barbershop since I was in college and left there, and that was pretty much my foundation for doing whatever I did in my life. Not understanding the impact that I could have on the community. And this is like my monologue that I'm doing. I don't normally do on this show. I usually do that with my daughter. But because today I've been having I have some people that came back to me and let me know some impacts that I've had on their lives as well as them on mine. The reason that we do this, the reason we've had 10 years of research is because I've had a huge, diverse group of wisdom and knowledge, a group of different social, economic, religious, and economic backgrounds. These people come from the same culture, majority of them, but it's a lot of different backgrounds. So we got a consistent message, and we took that information and we brought it here to this channel to give to you. But in the last month, I've had three people who have been in my life come in my barbershop, and they said that I've had an impact and an influence on their life. I spoke to my good brother, him and his lady. They came. I mean, we were speaking. They were in from out of town. We went out, had a good time. We caught up, and I didn't realize the impact and the things that I said and done that impacted him and his children. Excellent man, excellent father, good brother. Thank you for your service. He is, one of our in our armed services, one of our military personnel. Yeah, good brother. But when he came back and he told me some of the impact that I had on his life, I kind of was sitting there in shock, like, it was just conversations. It was just, a haircut. So I thought that it was just a haircut, but it was meant much, much more to him and them as well as to me. But I didn't know that he felt some of the things that I did. So not continuing talking, we just found out that our family lives are very, 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 very similar. So when we had an opportunity to sit down and unpack it and talk more personally, we had more of a close quarters conversation. It was a lot more detailed. Found out that we share very similar lives. So I want to tell you, if you're in the community, if you're around young people, if you can have an influence and impact, just try to do the next right thing. It's going to be hard in the moment, but it might take 10 or 20 years to plant that seed in fertile soil. But when it comes back, it's priceless. There is no amount of money that somebody can pay you to tell you that you've impacted their life and they have changed their lives or had changes in their lives because of some of the things that you did and said. So with that being said, we're going to jump off into this. Tonight's show is called Men and Women Playing in the Front Yard. So the title is just talking about relationships. It's what we go through when we see those red flags, when we know he or she has some issues up front, but we ignore those things. We ignore the red flags. We ignore those signals. We ignore that gut feeling because we want this, or maybe because we're lonely, or maybe because we think it's time, or maybe because everybody else is doing it. Whatever your reason is, when you ignore that red flag, I'm going to use the analogy of some children playing in the front yard. When we have another option and we don't have to let our children play in the street, when we have another option and we don't have to let our children play in the front yard, if there is a backyard or a playground or somewhere we could take them, why do we get upset when we let the kids play with the ball in the front yard, when we know that eventually that ball is going to go in the street? Whose fault is that when we yell at the kids after they kick the ball in the street and we taught them not to go in the street and they go get the ball? Whose fault is that when we're in the house and then hopefully nothing happens bad to our children? But if something goes wrong, we get mad at our children. We want to yell and scream at them. And back in the day, we used to get whoopings for stuff like that. Somebody's facilitating an environment for those children to be able to play in that position or in that area. So now we're going to translate that to our relationships with men and women. We see those red flags. We allow people to play in potentially dangerous places. We allow them to play with things that are very, very critical and crucial to the healthy longevity of our relationship. And then when they cross that line and they cross that boundary, we want to get upset. Then we want to yell and scream. We want to cuss, kick, and scream. We may want to fight. Why do we allow people to play in the front yard when there's another place that we could do that might be more safe? When those things happen and we let men and women use those type of situations and we put them in a potentially harmful situation, why do we get upset? when you facilitated that environment, you must be accountable for the things that you do. We've all been in that. We've all seen it. Most of us, it's really, we had our heart broken like that. But when you look back on the situation, look at something that was very, very detrimental to you and your life as far as a relationship is concerned. When you look back on it, the things that happened to you, you saw it coming and you could have avoided it, but there were things, there was a dysfunction of a dirty filter in your way, or you weren't thinking clearly, or there was an insecurity or inhibition that kept you moving forward in that relationship. So then after the aftermath, you get to see it clearly. Because if you're in a situation, just take your fingers and come close to your face. The closer you come to your eyes, the more your vision get blurred. Sometimes, good people, we must understand that when you're in and of something, you could be too close to it to see what it actually is. I'm an artist. They teach us that you have to step away from your piece, because sometimes you're so involved and you're so engrossed and you get into that myopic view and you get narrowed in or zoomed in on that one area. Just like this picture behind me. You can get zoomed in on that eye. You can get zoomed in on that finger, but you have to see the entire picture. And we're talking about our relationships. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to play in that front yard. We can't get upset when we allow people to be in potentially harmful situations that we facilitated. So these are just some things that we can throw out. Hopefully this can spark some conversation. So we want you to take this. We want you to test this. We want you to try this. Take it to the barbershop or take it to the hair salon. Take it to the job or take it to the church. Remember, you don't have to like it, believe it, or understand it. Sometimes you just have to respect it. This is the Clipper Dome Chronicles. Thank you.